as CJ Stroud enters his third NFL season with the expectations of a franchise on his back. And for a good team, the Houston Texans surprised a lot of folks the last couple seasons. But they are still building, and can they still build it on 2025? That is the question, right? Now, the schedule is stacked with playoff caliber opponents, divisional brawls, and a few chances to prove they belong with the AFC elite. But tonight, guys, we are going to go game by game, recapping the ride along the way. Let's see how DeMeco Ryans' squad holds up in 2025. So right off the bat, guys, weeks 1 through 5, the Texans got to come out swinging. They got to come out swinging, and they got to swing hard because they got a tough first quarter of the season. Week number 1, they're at LA taking on the Rams. This is a tough draw right out the gate. The Rams defense is still a problem. Matthew Stafford is still a problem, and the Rams are Super Bowl caliber team. I think CJ Stroud gets rattled early, and they lose this game big time, giving them the first loss of the season. And then week number 2, they're back at home. They are in this kind of this bounce back mode, which needs to be activated ASAP because as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come into town, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do get their first loss of the season as the Texans take care of Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, giving them the win. Then week number 3, division games are heated, and the Jacksonville Jaguars edge the Houston Texans in a hard-fought battle. The Texans lose to the Jaguars in week 3. Week number 4, speaking of the Tennessee Titans, Houston finally gets it right on a rebuilding Tennessee Titans team. This one was never in doubt. I think the Texans dominate the Titans early in this week 4 matchup. And then going into week 5, they travel to Baltimore to take on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Another game that the Texans just forget to show up. Lamar Jackson is in a groove. The Ravens defense is way too much to handle, and the Texans drop to a frustrating start. So through the first 5 weeks, guys, it is a rocky 2-3 start. Houston is showing flashes, but consistency is still the question. And next up with the bye week coming into week number 6, it is time to get refocused. And week 6 is the perfect time bye week for them after this rough 2-3 start. Now, personally, if it's my team, I do not want a week 5, 6, 7, 8 bye week. Give me the 11, 12, 13, 14 bye weeks, but the Texans need it, and the Texans get a shot to prove they can go toe-to-toe with anyone. Because weeks 7 through 11, they finally find their identity. They come out swinging, and it is going to be a bloodbath for these teams coming up. Just like for the Seattle Seahawks, week number 7, the Texans come out well-rested, and they roll past the Seattle Seahawks with the crisp offense performance. We're talking about a top 5 offense after this game. But week number 8, they come crashing back down to reality as they play the San Francisco 49ers, and they lose this game. Because the San Francisco 49ers, guys, will be one of the top teams in the NFL, and this was never going to be easy. This is yet another loss. But then, week 9, they finally play some teams that are worth their competition, right? The Denver Broncos, they handle business. CJ Stroud looks sharp, and the defense keeps Denver quiet. They win over the Denver Broncos. And then it's payback time in Houston as the Jacksonville Jaguars come to town, and they beat them. The Houston splits the series and get a key division win over the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 10. And then week 11, they travel to Nashville to take on the Titans in an AFC South opponent with another another W. The Texans are starting to heat up. And now we're talking. The Texans go 4-1 after their bye week, and suddenly they're in the playoff hunt. CJ Stroud is getting more comfortable, and the defense is flying around, and the momentum is building. But then they hit a gauntlet. They hit a gauntlet of a game. Come week number 12, they play Alpha Rob's Buffalo Bills. This is a statement game for the Houston Texans. The Texans go into Buffalo and shock the Buffalo Bills. CJ Stroud outduels Josh Allen in a shootout. The Houston Texans beat the Buffalo Bills in week 12, but then week 13 comes rolling around. Trap game vibes all over this as they play the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans stumble at home in a divisional letdown game to the Indianapolis Colts. They lose that game. And then week 14, the champs come into town, the AFC champions, and that is the Houston Texans. Actually, they travel to Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. But Patrick Mahomes does Mahomes things, and the Chiefs beat the Texans. Now, it's not perfect, but this stretch proves that the Texans can hang with anybody. They are now 7-6 on the season and still very much alive. But the final stretch will determine everything. Weeks 15 through 18, they need to finish strong or they're going to fold like a baby back bitch. Week number 15, that is what they do. They fold. They lose to the Arizona Cardinals. This one stings. Houston goes flat on the road, and the Arizona Cardinals seal a win. And then back at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders, they get back in rhythm, and the Texans handle the Raiders with playoff energy. Get that dub. But then week number 17, another tough road loss to the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert lights up the scoreboard. I'm thinking 5 tutties. And then season finale, game at home versus the Indianapolis Colts, and the Texans close with a divisional W to keep things respectable. Now, add it all up, guys. I think the Texans will finish 9-8 this season. It's not perfect, but it is competitive. They are resilient, and most importantly, it is still a step forward in the right direction. If CJ Stroud keeps growing, and this team isn't just building a future, they are building a contender. So, guys, is 9-8 too low, too high, or just right? Can CJ Stroud really lead this team back to the postseason for the 3rd straight season, or do they need to add some more pieces still? So, guys, drop your predictions in the comments. This is a live interactive show. I want to hear from you. What is the Texas ceiling in 2025, guys? Do not forget to hit the subscribe button, smash that like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. So let's get into your comments. Derek says, just wait. Just wait. Wait for what, Derek? Wait for what, man? Oh, Shane says, I also think the Texans' O-line will be worse this year because they got rid of Laramie Tunsil, who is one of the best left tackles in the league. Shane, I once thought this. I thought Laramie Tunsil was one of the best offensive linemen, period, in the NFL. But go back and watch his tape. He's not that good. He's got slow feet. He holds a lot. And he has a big name. He has a lot of potential, but lately I just don't see it. I think the Texans got rid of him for a reason. Which I think he got traded to the Commanders, right? The Commanders think they got to score. They're quickly going to find out that he's not that good. Old Man River, we're on the same page yet again.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
9-8 for the Texans. Real McCoy says 8-9 for the Texans. And he says, no way the Texans beat the Buffalo Bills. So, Real McCoy, if this was a playoff game, I would say yes. If we're talking, January, December, that type of game, I would 100% say yes. But the fact that they play in November on a Thursday night, it is tough, right? Because not only do the Bills play the Buccaneers the week before, then they got to travel to Houston on a Thursday night game. That is why I ultimately picked the Texans to beat the Buffalo Bills, is because of their schedule, right? Because if you look at the Buffalo Bills schedule at this particular point, they play the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Buccaneers, and then the Texans, right? Home, away, home, away. And then they're looking for a showdown with the Pittsburgh Steelers the following week. It's kind of like that trap Thursday night game. Think of it when the Detroit Lions traveled to Houston on that Thursday, and the Texans looked like a Super Bowl team in the first half. I can see the Texans putting a complete game together for this time versus the Buffalo Bills. Alpha Rob says the Texans are 9-8. They lucky they in the South. They're extremely lucky they're in the AFC South. They are extremely lucky they're in the AFC South. 100%. They got a lot of gimme wins. Miles says the Houston ceiling is 13-14 wins. What? 13 or 14 wins for the Houston Texans? Is that because you have them sweeping the division? 2 wins versus the Colts, 2 wins versus the Titans, 2 wins versus the Jaguars. I mean, there are 6, but after that, who do you got them beating? The Seahawks, the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Chargers. Like, even then, that only gives you like 11. Man, you got some big upsets happening. So you got them beating the Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the 49ers. You got them rolling through just about everybody, don't you? Because 14-3, that is a big deal. That is elite. That's a number 1 overall seed. And I just don't see it. But Miles, you might be right. You might be right, but hey, I was wrong about the Houston Texans last season. I thought they were going to get last place in the division actually last season because I thought the Titans were going to be better. I thought the Colts were going to win the division. I was completely wrong about the AFC South last season. So I studied the AFC South, and I just don't see how they're that good. And Shane says you are about right, Buck. I know, man. I'm always right. I'm kidding, but yeah, 9-8. I feel like that's a pretty nice little happy place there, right? Derek says there's a lot more tape on CJ Stroud. He's going to have to become a superstar to get away from the defensive line. CJ Stroud is quickly becoming a superstar. I agree with that. I think CJ Stroud, the sky is a limit for him. Miles says the Texans already beat the Bills, and that's with the terrible offensive line. That's also when the Buffalo Bills were at their elite worst part of the season last year, right? So now let's just say that was last year, 2024, not 2025. So, but yeah, history says. Miles says, I'm going to let people know right now. If the Houston's has a middle-of-the-road offensive line, they'll be top 5 in the league. And I would agree with that. Because if they have a decent offensive line, which that is their weakest point, let's just be honest. The offensive line is terrible. They're better than the Broncos. They're better than the Chargers. But they're not better than the Chiefs. They're not better than the Ravens. They're not better than the Bills. They're not better than the Steelers. I mean, top 5 in the league, no, but top 5 in the AFC, I would give you top 5, I guess. Derek says 9 to 10 wins most. Yes, I agree with that, Derek. I agree with that 100%. Old Man River says, you still in love with Richardson? Ever since he tapped himself out, no. Give me some Daniel Jones, baby. Give me some Daniel Jones. Miles says, definitely losses are to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Rams. Throwing the 49ers in there. Alpha Rob says, slow it down, baby. There's no way the Texans are winning 13, 14 games. Old Man says, you must be high too, brother. We all high. We all high and loving life. Let's just be honest.